Oh, man. Did you guys hear the news? Did you guys hear the news? No, not that shit. It's the Week 3 recap. Week 3 is over already. We blazed past preseason, and here we are. Week 3 recap. Picked up my first win. Just watched the Packers win. I'm excited. I haven't done a recap in a long time, so this will be fun. There's lots to talk about this week. So let's get right into it. I try to take some notes here and get organized so this doesn't get too long. But again, it's a good week, so there's some things to talk about, and let's get right into it here. This song is by a band named Garbage. Sounds good to me. Alright, let's get right into it here. Go through some highlights of weekly matchups. Wow, some good matchups this week. I'm going to go over me and Coy this week. Me and Coy, we battled it out. We were both 0-2. I'm looking to win desperately. Devontae Freeman, who was actually a backup for me this week, came in for Lacey, scored 37 points for me. My other Packers receivers turned out well, and so did Cam. Coy, Greg Olsen was giving me trouble because I have Cam. He was throwing to Greg Olsen. So that was worrying me a lot, but in the end, I was able to beat Coy and score 152 points, which was big for me, and pull out my first win. So Coy drops to 0-3, and I leapfrog up to the glorious 1-2 right in the middle of the pack. Anything else weird going on in this matchup? Let's move on here. We got... Sorry, I'm trying to position this so I can look semi-near the camera. Alright, we got Vandalay versus the Unicorns here. This is pretty good. So, Vandalay Industries, once again, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones paired up to completely blast the Unicorns this week. Just got plowed. And then Latavius Murray, who, he's a starting running back for Oakland, but you had to be skeptical going into the season, and he's cranked it out. He had 20 points this week. What else? Oh, and freaking Larry Fitzgerald blew up again. So he scored 140 points, Julian did. I think he scored at least 140 points or 120 points each week. So that's big. And he beats Kelly this week, who scored 90 points, and she kind of had a mediocre turnout. What went on? Phillip Rivers, she started three Chargers who went up against the Vikings and got steamrolled. Keenan Allen had 25 points, so that was all right. Danny Woodhead was a starting running back for her. Todd Gurley, she's got on her bench. He didn't do much this week, but I'm a little surprised she didn't start him, just because he's got potential, but she's watching him. All right, let's move on. So Vandalay Industries wins against the Corn. All right, yeah. So Julian goes at 3-0. Kelly goes at 2-1. All right, now we've got the Luck Stops here versus the San Diego Padres. Okay, so Max won 125 to 121. This is a close game. Jay Witt, let's see. AJ Green had 34 points for Jay Witt, which was almost as much as a team scored this week. But we'll get to that in a little bit here. Let's see. Chris Johnson blew up for Max, which ended up getting him the win. He scored a surprising 27 points, which who knew the old man had in him, and who knew the Cardinals would look so good. For some reason, Carson Palmer has pulled like a magic pill out of his ass. The Cardinals look pretty good. So they both go to 2-1. Oh, wait a sec. Sorry. Max falls to 1-2. Sorry, Max. You like that Blockbuster picture earlier today? It's pretty good. All right. Next. Oh, wait. Let me check the benches here. Do I want to talk about this later? Huh? Nothing too crazy going on here. Max had a couple zeros, so did Jalen. All right, we're moving on. Oh, Rashard Matthews on Max's bench. The stinky Dolphins, and Rashard Matthews manages to score 23 points on Max's bench. All right. So, yep, I talked about their record. So we got... Who do we got here? Ooh, okay, so the Knights of Yeldon defeated Nuwanda Rising. So Chris falls this week, falls to 1-2, middle of the pack, and Knights of Yeldon jumps up to 2-1. Carskill scored 143 points. 143.3 points. He's got 34 points from A-Raj, who blew up through 5 touchdowns just now on Monday Night Football. He's got Jamal Charles with 26 points. He's got Joseph Randall, who scored 28 points, was part of the Cowboys' massive running backfield. Mike Evans at 10. Devontae put up a goose egg for him, so he could have had more points. And Carsko potentially could have had, I think Max was saying, like 210 or 215 points if Carsko had started the players on his bench, who were LeGarrette Blount, 27 points, I think, in his first game back. Jeremy Maclin with 20 points, and Steve Smith, who scored 30.6 points in a Ravens loss. Ravens are 0-3. Nothing crazy going on Chris's bench. Tyrod scored 24, so Tyrod's looking solid. It's a nice backup for Chris there. But yeah, off week for Chris. Dolphins defense. I watched the Dolphins game with Brendan, and he fucking just loves watching the Dolphins lose. It was halftime. It was like 27-0. I was like, let's put the Seahawks game on, and he goes, no, I want to watch it all. I want to taste their... He literally went like this. He goes, I want to taste their tears. He hates the Dolphins. He's provoking his coworkers. All right. So we've got a record-setting matchup here. This one is a whole lot of fun here. Wait. One quick note about the last matchup. Carsko's bench, he could have scored almost over 200 points. Carsko's bench scored almost 3 times what someone scored with their starting roster this week. But we'll get to that in a little bit here. So now we've got a record-setting match here where, unfortunately, Eli loses to Henry. The Richfield Auto Drafters lose to the Crombupulus crew. Maybe someone can verify the pronunciation of that. And wow, this is already 8.5 minutes long. But the Richfield Auto Drafters fall to 1-2, and KK Crew, the Triple Ks, jump up to 3-0. But there was a record set here, folks. The Richfield Auto Drafters broke the new low for points by a starting roster in a week with 46.2. I believe the previous record was 47 by Randy in week 1. So Eli, that's not looking so hot right now. We cannot ignore these mistakes. Oh, we've got an ad here. Eli, we cannot ignore these mistakes. Roethlisberger went out for you, but you've got Marshawn at 2.3. He was questionable with a calf and a hamstring. He didn't even play the first few series of the game. Alfred Morris, 1.9. That's the Redskins, man. Ty was your second highest scoring player with 9.4. Bills D was your highest scoring player this week, Eli. Your kicker, Matt Prater, for the Broncos, for Detroit, had 0 points. So this was a dastardly performance. And if I'm not mistaken, Henry has played both Mariota Brothers and Richfield Auto Drafters. So we look for his team to go up against stiffer competition like Vanderlei Industries or a ruthless veteran like Chris. We're only getting in the beginning of the season. But Eli, this was a dastardly performance, and your bench really is not much better. So yeah, a new record has been set in the league. And now let's get on to a very special matchup. There has actually been another, folks, I'm just getting breaking news that there has been another record set in our league for lowest score ever by a starting roster, and that is by the Super Mariota Brothers, who played the West St. Paul Anchor Babies this week. Anchor Babies, not a team lighting it up, as of yet, not a team lighting it up, but the Mariota Brothers really stooped to a new all-time low and scored a total of 35.2 points this week. This was really a disgusting performance by the Mariota brothers. The third in a row. Truly, he drops to 0-3, and the Anchor Babies are 1-2 in the middle of the pack. Randy's team, has had a tough go so far, and this was really just an entertaining performance, to say the least. Anchor Babies are jumping up to 2-1. Wow. Anchor Babies, they did the thing. AP, had a good week at 24.6. Vikings D, they destroyed the Chargers. We had all these angry Chargers fans here this week. What else? Yep. So, oh man. But let's move on from that. Let's move on from that into the shame of the week here. So, let's go. I'm gonna do something interesting. I'm gonna kind of bring up a nominee from each losing team this week for shame of the week. So let's see, and I'll play the noise. So I've got the noise queued up. So I've got Coy. Coy, you started a Jaguar this week against the Patriots. Allen Robinson, that's up for consideration. We got the Corns started. Danny Woodhead and a few Chargers, over a guy like Joe Bernard, who would, maybe that's a little bit of an iffy move. Luck of the, what's his team name this year? Luck Stubbs here. Started a Jaguar. Yeldon over, a guy like McFadden, who was part of Dallas's monster rushing day against Falcons. Let's see, we've got Nial, who started the Dolphins D and started a Cleveland running back, which is truly never a good sign. And Eli, your tight end duo that you reached for in the draft combined for 2.9 points this week between the both of them. I think one scored 1.4 points and one scored 1.5 points. So, those reaches are not paying off as of yet. But, tight ends, let's come out of the last nominee here, which would be the Super Mariota brothers, who have the new lowest score in the league at 34.2 points by a starting roster. And so who is going to win this week? I'm not quite sure. Let's cue up the music. This is getting a little long, but I don't care.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? China. They're better than we are. We're not good enough. It's embarrassing. I represent
that. All right, there we go. So,
open his head!
Oops, it's just a little noise there. All right, so shame of the week. I'm awarding the shame of the week to the Super Mariota brothers this week. Super Mariota brothers. I had to give it to them, and I'm doing a little change of pace here. It would be very easy to give it to him for having the new lowest score of all time in the league with 35.2 points. But I'm not giving it to him for that. I'm giving it to him for this. He swapped his kicker out this week and picked up the number one fantasy kicker named Robbie Gould and added him to his team. Any old bozo out there could see that Robbie Gould was going up against the Seahawks this week because he's the Bears kicker, and the Bears are without Jay Cutler, they were starting Jimmy Clausen in Seattle in that tough away environment. You could see that was just not going to go well. So Randy picks up the number one kicker in fantasy this week, and he lays a big old goose egg. So, Randy, you get the shame of the week, and it is for that. Now, I have a decree from the fantasy gods. I'm going to read off some crimes that the Super Mariota brothers are guilty of to the fantasy gods this week. So let's just take a peek at this here. All right, so
as a part of the Mariota brothers' crimes. Devontae Freeman, a running back started by another team, scored more points, 2 or 3 more points than his entire team this week. The Super Mariota brothers have scored 140.5 points in their first 3 weeks of play. 3 teams scored that many points this week. The Super Mariota brothers started 3 big fat zeros this week. This doesn't include the 4 bench zeros that laid stinking and rotting on their bench.
Some due to injury. Most due to injury.
But still, Mike Wallace, a wide receiver on his bench, scored more than both of his starting wide receivers combined with a measly... Let me check my facts. I didn't write this down. 4.9 points. His defense, the Ravens' defense, was his second highest scoring player this week with a massive 6 points.
And most dastardly of all, he has set a new all-time low for scoring, eclipsing his own record set week 1 with a new massively ridiculous 35.2 points. So these are the crimes that you are guilty of, Mariota brothers. You're guilty through 3 weeks. This has been a travesty, and the people are angry. The people are angry. Now they're chomping at the bit. Everybody's excited to beat you, to play you, and add to their record. But who's going to lose this Super Mariota brothers first? Will they turn it around? What will the fantasy gods have in store? I don't know. All right, Randy, I would compare your team very closely to Donald Trump in that it's just a beautiful spectacle each time they come up on the TV, and you just can't look away. It's like everything wrong with fantasy, but everything so right about fantasy at the same time. So we will be watching your team very closely. We will see who will be the first person to lose to the Super Mariota brothers. And, maybe you can scrape through waivers or trades or whatever you need to do and make fantasy great again. All right, so let's move on to next week's matchups here. We got Qui-Gon Jannus plays the Anchor Babies next week, so that'll be an interesting matchup. I've got my Patriots will be out on bye, so we'll see how that goes. Let's see. We got Knights of Yeldon versus the Super Mariota brothers. What will happen? Mariota, let's see, not any really crucial buys in this matchup. So, Carsko, you're going against Mariota brothers. You've been warned. KK Krumbabalis crew is going up against Flaming Unicorns. This will be a 3-0 team versus a 2-1 team. So, we'll see how this matchup goes up. 2 winning teams so far. Anything interesting here? We've got Andy Dalton will be playing the Chiefs with their string cheese secondary, so we'll see. And then Kelly's Chargers will want to rebound next week. We've got the Auto Drafters versus the Luck Stops here. So this will be 2 1-2 teams. Let's see. Big Ben is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. How will that affect Eli's team? We will see. Will he pick up Vic? Who will pick up Vic? Will Chris pick him up and try and trade him to Eli? Will there be a 3-way trade between Mariota brothers, Eli, and Chris involving Vic? We got Vandalay Industries versus Nuwanda Rising. This will be a good matchup. Chris is always on the offensive. He's got his Gronk out, so he's not going to like that. But we will see what goes on there. And then we've got the San Diego Padres versus Going Incognito. Coy will be 0-3. He'll be looking to pick up his first win against the Padres. This is loading here, but no crucial buys here. So these guys are going to be at full strength, and we're going to see what happens. And then was there one other? Oh, okay. So Randy and Coy will be looking to pick up their first wins next week, and Henry and Julian will both be looking to continue to 4-0. So that was your recap this week. I need to go cut this down. May the fantasy gods bless you, and may you not lose to the Super Mariota Brothers. Good night, and good luck.